So for something a little more serious, I happened across a story a couple weeks ago and I saw it's from my old environs in Los Angeles. And the title of the video is Three Children Aged 3, 2, and 6 months stabbed to death in receipt of their mother in custody. So let me jack the volume up to make sure everybody can hear it. And let's go ahead and then analyze this video and what's going on.
Yes, we're actually in front of the apartment building where this happened.
All right, let me know how this video sounded.
They're still processing the scene. Those three tiny bodies are still in that apartment, allowing some people, some of the neighbors, people who knew them, to drop flowers and some toys.
How's the volume on that?
Yeah, it's good.
And there's not too much lag?
Nope.
It's unthinkable, but the mother of these three children who were found dead this morning by their grandmother, her name is Liliana Carrillo, the mother, 30-year-old. She is in custody, and investigators are...
Look at those evil fucking eyes. Look at those eyes, man. You know, she just looks pure fucking evil. I'm sorry. She has just these evil fucking eyes. All right, let's.
And she actually looks happy about it.
Yeah.
Telling us that they believe she is the one and only suspect in this case. Now, as you said, we have been able to reach out to family members. The father of these three children, his name is Eric Denton. They actually have a GoFundMe, and they are allowing us to use the photographs. We also talked to his cousin. She explains to us that they had been going through a difficult divorce situation, but that they had reached out to try to get help for her. It's such a tragic story. Listen to this.
He's still completely in shock and he's devastated. He was planning on picking up the kids tomorrow, taking them to buy fish for their new fish tank. And he's heartbroken. I mean, Liliana was very sick and she was not herself. And it's been going on for several months that she has been unwell. And
feel free to jump in at any time, Wolf.
He's been actively
I'm just
doing
listening,
everything possible through
because I can't listen in real time.
Okay.
The Child Protective Services, through the LAPD, to one, get Liliana help, and two, get his children safely home, because she left with the kids at the end of February. So he actually had emergency custody orders of the children since March 4th. He did everything that he could think of to get his kids back home safely and to get her help too, because he still loved her, but she was just not herself. So he's also frustrated with the system because the system failed them. The system failed these kids.
DCFS was one of the agencies that responded here today. They would not talk to us on camera. What happened? Again, she was captured up in Tulare County. Let's go now to the beginning of the day and the people who knew them and can fill us in. Listen.
I never in my wildest dreams imagined that it was the little ones.
Lupe Cuevas, referring to the little children that wanted to play with her small dog, Rosie, at the Royal Villa Apartments. The same children investigators say were found by their grandmother, seemingly stabbed to death.
The ages that I know are 3, 2, and 6 months or so.
The suspect, their own mother, 30-year-old Liliana Carrillo, who was arrested in Northern California after supposedly carjacking a vehicle.
She was caught in the vehicle that she had taken from another individual during her flee from this location.
Neighbors telling us they usually saw the children with grandma.
It's the little girl that is that I have in my mind as
because
the sweetest little one, because she wanted to bang Rosie, and she was so sweet, and she listened to her grandma.
You saw the kids with grandma? Did you ever see them with mom?
No, because
no one ever saw the father in the small first-floor apartment.
TV would be on, and the cartoons. They'd be cartoons all the time.
Did you get a sense that there was any trouble in the family?
No.
You'd like to think that the person couldn't have been aware of what they were doing.
Forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman says Carrillo's alleged crime is particularly disturbing.
Especially in this case, again, allegedly, because stabbing children that is a very intimate crime, because stabbing them, you feel the knife going into them, these little children that you gave birth to, that you love.
And again, investigators are still over 12 hours later in that apartment going through what happened here and why. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot more about this. We're going to put all the information for the GoFundMe for Mr. Denton, and as more as we find out about this case, which is developing as I speak, and you'll find all that at foxla.com. I'll make sure to put that there tonight. I'm Christina Gonzalez. Tragic night out here in Reseda. Back to you guys in the studio.
Christina, quite the interview with is it the cousin of Eric Denton?
The cousin.
What more did you learn from her in that interview that perhaps you were not able to share?
How much you want to bet they're going to try to come up with some excuse
it seems
for her
that
doing this?
The children.
Oh, they're already doing that.
They loved each other. But according to her and according to some of the people here in the apartment building, now it's beginning to make sense, she had been having issues for some time. And that's why Grandma was involved with taking care of the kids. She had been hearing some voices. There had been some ongoing things. They had been accusing each other back and forth. It was a messy custody battle. But they had both gone repeatedly to authorities asking for help. And she had and he had. So this was not a new case to them. There were allegations of abuse and all kinds of things that I don't want to get into because, again, you don't want to wait to see what DCFS tells us. Again, they've been here today. They would not talk to us. But according to the family, they have been involved in this case for a while. And I have a feeling we're going to be hearing from attorneys because he supposedly had emergency custody back in March, but it was one of those that got lost through the system. And people were saying, we need help. But I'm sure we'll find out more in the next few days. The bottom line is there's 3 little bodies in a scene that is so horrible. I will tell you that the police officers I talked to who first got here, they're all getting counseling. It's just horrible for everybody. But yes, it's an ongoing dispute with people, accusing people of all kinds of things and obvious mental health issues that somehow got lost in the shuffle, and this is the result. Oh, sadly.
Just a tragedy.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, they're making excuses for her. She's mentally ill, she's having problems, and all this other fucking happy horse shit. And, and there was a custody dispute. The dad got emergency custody, but she wouldn't relinquish the kids. The authorities didn't do a goddamn thing.
Yeah, they did fuck all.
They did fuck all to get the kids out of there. And the kids died, so, guess what? Hashtag gynocentrism! And so, I know why she killed the kids. Because she did not want the dad to have the kids. She didn't want the dad to have the kids. That's just plain and simple. She did not want the dad to have the kids. And if she couldn't have the kids, no one could have the kids. So she fucking brutally murdered them. And notice how they portrayed her out to be the sympathetic, and she's having mental illness problems. She's having mental health problems. All this fucking happy horse shit about, she's having a hard time. She's under a lot of fucking stress, blah, blah, blah. Now let's flip the script a little bit. Imagine if this is if the shoe were on the other foot and the dad brutally murdered the kids because he didn't want the mom to get custody of them. What do you think the news media would report, how they would report that? How would they report that?
Yeah, they would. There would be no sympathy whatsoever for him.
They would be responding about how he's a pig, bastard, abusive, evil, psychopathic, remorseless monster. They wouldn't say, well, he's having mental problems. He's had a hard time, and it's been a really messy custody battle. And they would paint the mother out as being a sympathetic victim. And here's another thing. I love how the fact that all these pretty much all women, actually, because they do really go from the same fucking playbook. they they'll what was goddamn I lost my train of thought. They all run from the same playbook that women are the best stewards of children. Derp-a-derp-a-derp-a-doo. And that women are the pure and they love children and they take care of them and they protect children. While the mean mad monster man abused them and threw backhands to them. I mean, further proof that we live in a gynocentric society. And I'm just going to say this, and I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more. Women in the United States and Western Europe have the easiest out of anybody in the world. Let me repeat that. Women in the United States and Western Europe have it the easiest out of anyone in the fucking world. But when they do something, when they engage in bad behavior, and that's an understatement here, they're virtually given a pass. Now, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that this fucking bitch, that's what she is, she's a fucking cunt too, will get, maybe a couple years in prison, or they'll find her legally insane and send her to the fucking funny farm. But like I said, a guy like that, if the shoe was on the other foot and the husband did it, that motherfucker be getting the death penalty. This is sad and tragic, because if it had been the man that was holding on to the kids and not relinquishing custody, they would have fucking brought a goddamn SWAT team out to his house to get those children back.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pure sophistry. This is clown world, but not in a good way. This is, a fucking dad losing all three of his kids, and I'm not gonna. He has no responsibility in the murder of those kids, but at the same time, he shouldn't have been sticking his dick in crazy. Fellas, don't stick your dick in crazy. Crazy. Sex with a crazy broad may be great, but there's just too much of a aftermath, and the consequences don't equate to the pleasure you have in a few minutes of fucking a crazy bitch. So yeah, the grandmother was probably taking care of him. The woman was probably going off in fucking la la land. And then after she murdered her kids, she went and carjacked a truck. So she was El Choco Loco, and she was crazy, batshit crazy. But of course, like I said, she's not going to really be held accountable for this shit. She's not going to have to suffer any real thing. She might get 3 to 5 years of prison at the worst. At best, they'll probably declare her insane and put her in the funny farm for a little bit, then quote unquote rehabilitate her and send her back out into society.
Yeah.
But notice how the news media covers stories. How the news media covers stories involve versus a man versus a woman. How notice the difference. How they're almost being preferential to the woman and giving her a break, making excuses for her. But at the same time, because they always do this, they always manage to let the truth slip out, and they pretty much paint an obvious picture of where their loyalties are slanted. Yeah, so she's painted out as a victim. She has problems, but if a man did it, he'd be a monster, prick, scumbag, son of a bitch, bastard that deserves to be executed without a trial. So there you go. There you go. I mean, the system failed because because it was a man gaining custody. And I got news for you people, man. Society doesn't give a flying fuck about men. They don't care about us. They don't give a shit about men. They only care about, it's all about the whammons. Yeah, and of course, and you know what? And you know what? Yeah, DPS isn't going to get any, DFS isn't going to get into any trouble for this. The caseworkers are not going to be penalized or disciplined. They're just going to be like, well, one slip through the cracks. The Fat Man 56 says a stiff D has no brain, or F, I don't know the word. You know what? You're right. You're right, Fat Man. A stiff dick doesn't have no brain. But guess what? You know what? You have a brain. So use it and don't stick your dick in fucking crazy. Ugh. So is there anything you want to talk about, Wolf?
No, I think I'm good, man.
But that fucking story is tragic. 3 kids are dead because the system doesn't give a fuck about fathers. The system doesn't give a shit about men, and that's why those kids got lost in the fucking shuffle. So yeah, I think I'm gonna cut the stream off. I'm pretty disgusted. I'll leave a window. The old like bag reporter mentioned that the cops that were involved in that case need to go to therapy because they suffer from PTSD. I mean, that's just how cops are used to seeing fucked up shit every day. But that was so bad that even fucked them up. So with that note, I think we're going to leave it here. This